Nowadays, many countries have abandoned the death penalty, including America. According to the Death Penalty Information Center, there are 18 states of America that abolished the death penalty. Well, is that right or benefit to our society right now? I would say it's not right. And I will disagree to you guys that death penalty should never be abandoned. And I will discuss the disadvantages of abolishing death penalty in different aspects and indicate why death penalty is so important. So, firstly, banning death penalty will destroy the stability of our society. Imagine if serious criminals do not get the strict punishment they deserve. Instead, they are imprisoned for by several years. Then they are very likely to reoffend the public. According to the data provided by the National Institute of Justice, within 5 years, about 3/4 of released prisoners will be rearrested by the policeman. How does that sound? So basically, prisoners cannot be educated very well in the prison because prisons are full of other dangerous prisoners, such as Prison Break showed us. I want to show this, must say this series. In fact, I believe penalty is a very good way of frightening people, not educating people. If death penalty were abandoned totally, criminals would no longer be afraid of the justice and the law. Even they were arrested, they might be released after years, and then they would continue to endanger our society and become increasingly wild. It's not what we want to say, yeah. And law and justice can do very few effective, can only do few effective things to deal with these guys because death penalty was abolished at that time, as we assumed. This is not very proper example, but I think it's very best suits in this situation. The Joker in the Batman story. The Joker escaped from the prison again and again and killed many innocent people. It's just because Batman did not kill the Joker in the first place. That's very terrible. Because I think the Joker should be killed in the first time the Batman arrested him. Well, in the real world, its death penalty was no longer valid. Our society might be full of the crazy guys, just like Joker. Yeah. Abolishing death penalty will also have a very bad effect on the victims and their families. When bad people do not deserve hard punishment, the victims and families will be very sad, or sometimes they just disappear. Sometimes they lose faith to the justice and the police, the government. It's very dangerous. I have read a Japanese comic called Death Note. In that story, the criminals cannot be judged very well or executed very well. And the leading role just executed criminals by himself by the power of death. Increasingly, surprisingly, most of the people strongly support this action, and the world became a mess then. In the real world, as long as justice works, our society will be stable. However, if one day its execution could not be applied effectively or properly, people might not obey the rule, which our human civilization will be broken in the end. And abolition of death penalty also means increase of the long-term in prison. It will bring a very big financial burden to the government. According to the report from Institute of Justice, the total taxpayer cost of prison in 40 states was $39 billion, and which was $5.4 billion more than the budget in 2012. We do not pay our tax to support the prisoners' life spending. If long-term in prison take risks of death penalty totally, and the cost will keep increasing. This cost can just be saved and used for any other meaningful things like education and medical care. But not waste on the criminals that should be executed. I don't think so. Well, some human rights advocates believe that death penalty is respectable of human being lives. Well, I disagree. On the one hand, death penalty, the way of death penalty has been improved. For example, the lethal injection, which is very efficient and humanistic, it's very fast, with light pain. And on the other hand, there are millions induced abortion happened in the world every year. According to a survey, there were about 1 million induced abortion happening in each year in America. Well, there were only 34 executions happened in last year in America. Which one is more important? The innocent million baby lives, or the prisoners should be executed? I will let you guys judge that. So, what I want to say is there are always people who think that everyone should be forgiven, but I do not think so. I think they are just funny because they never understand what the victims and the families suffered from the criminals. My uncle is a Chinese policeman, and once he told me from a murder case that the victims or families just want the murder to be executed as soon as possible. They never want to forgive the criminal. That's what I think, because there's the old saying, life for life. I think that really makes sense. But I'm not talking about that death penalty is a very good way of revenge, but it's a good way to warn people, to show the power of justice and the law. And I think the death penalty do not have to be abolished, never should be abolished, because one day I believe that people do not have to use for the death penalty, because there will be peace in the society finally. I hope that day will come. Thank you.